Feeling alone, overwhelmed? Low-key listening is here to help. Whether you want to vent, share your thoughts, or just have someone truly listen to you, we have real people standing by, ready to listen 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You can download the app for free on Apple App Store or Google Play. Simply set up an account, find someone, and they will listen to what you have to say. You can actually even take voice memo notes and send them to the person. You can even text the person. Here's the best part. It is completely anonymous, not only for you, but the person listening. Because after all, don't we want somebody there willing to listen to us? Download the Low Key app today. Talk, be heard, and feel better. Low Key listening on your favorite app store.
Welcome to Elegance in Every Step. I'm your maitre d', Mary Postlethwaite. We hope you've come famished. We've prepared the finest table just for you. Our special today is Hungry, a dish we've been perfecting for 21 seasons now. Your table is alongside another guest. It might feel a bit unusual. However, we encourage you to dive in and hear their story. Today, we're serving up a conversation about craving the right things in life. Sit back, enjoy a complimentary appetizer. Your host, Neil Matthews, will be along shortly to guide you through today's meal. Bon appetit.
Yes. Welcome in, one and all other people's shoes. How's it going out there in your world, in your neck of the woods? We are so excited to be in this season. It is just so exciting to me to talk about this idea of being hungry. Now, full disclosure, I feel like I am always hungry. I'm hungry for, I think, really like 4 things in life. I'm hungry for a really nice, comfortable hat. I am such a hat aficionado. Like, I was looking in the closet before I came out to the studio today, and I was like, man, I really got a lot of hats. I really need to work on that. And then I was like, okay, now that I found the right hat, I was like, now the most important thing maybe is finding the right hoodie. I don't know if you guys know this. Sometimes I come out to the studios and it's really cold out here. And sometimes I like to have a nice warm hoodie. The other thing, of course, we always have to have the right pair of shoes. And so today I'm taking to the air in my North Carolina edition Air Force Ones. But maybe my guest will help us bring us back down to earth. We can be in the air and we can fly around. Sometimes we really need that connection. So help me welcome in my new friend, Marco. Marco, how are you today?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm fantastic. Now, Marco, I heard through the grapevine that you're ready and prepared to sing a song for us today. Did I get that wrong, or am I right on the money with that?
You got that very wrong. I will not be singing.
Oh, that's so weird. Being in Nashville, I thought everyone is a singer. No, that's not true.
No, not until I came around.
Now, Marco, I got to tell you this. I didn't tell you this in the green room, sort of on purpose. I actually had aspirations of being a worship singer and a worship guitar player. As I was told many years ago, in order to be a great youth pastor, you had to be able to preach, which I was like, okay, got that down. And second was you had to be able to play worship. There are times where you need to have the worship guy and the speaker, and sometimes you can't get both. And so I was like, okay, I had like 3 or 4 guitars in my lifetime, and I tried every time to learn the chords and to strum. This last time, about 7 years ago or so, I got a guitar and I was so excited and I was going to play, and I took lessons, and then I got ready to play, and my wife says, realize you are going to have to sing. And I was like, yeah, I can sing. And she said, listen, I love you so much with all my heart. You are not a singer. I was like, you sound like Simon Cowell right now.
Oh, no.
I don't really like that. And then I realized I was trying to be somebody I wasn't. And so my wife said, I think you should start podcasting. And here I am. So that's the end of that story. It does bring me to this question. Help me with this. Now, I heard also through the grapevine, so we were wrong on one thing. Hopefully we can be right on this one. That if we're walking downtown Nashville, you have these really amazing shoes that you're walking around Nashville. And what size would they be, and what style and brand might they be?
Oh, is this a trick question? I feel like
it is not a trick question. That is a real question now.
I would say cowboy boots, if you really want to fit in. I would say, did you say size?
I did. I mean, you don't have to tell us your shoe size. It's fine. Yeah.
I kind of want to brag about that.
Do you? All right, brag about it. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm a size 10.
You're a 10.
Yeah.
Okay. Why is that so important for you to brag about? Because you're a 10.
Fellas, you'll understand. I'm a size 10.
Well, so do you have a favorite pair of shoes? I have a lot of favorite pairs. Maybe you don't have a favorite pair. Maybe it's just, whatever's on the rack at Ross. I don't know.
I love this question. Everybody that I know, they see me with the same shoe every day, which sounds gross. It is like a brown suede Chelsea boot, just because I wear pants all the time. It's really versatile. It's almost like a half boot, so it doesn't go all the way up the ankle. But when you wear pants, it makes it look like you've got a big boot. You wear it at the office, you could wear it to lunch, to dinner. Like, it's really versatile. So I always just wear that shoe. It goes with everything.
I once worked for a company. One of the guys was noticing my shoes one day, and he said, "Neil, those are nice shoes. You probably shouldn't wear them around the shop." And I was like, "That's okay. Tomorrow I'll have on a different pair." And he said, "No way." And I said, "No, I will. Watch." He said, "Okay." So he saw my shoes and he's like, "All right, cool." And I was like, "Tell you what, tomorrow I'll have on a different pair. See what you think of those." And he goes, "Are you kidding me? How many pairs do you think you have?" And I was like, "I don't know. Let's find out." I went 45 straight days with a different pair of shoes.
Gosh.
Is that a lot, Marco? Do I need
I
help?
I don't have the closet space for that. Maybe back in the day when I feel like houses were cheaper, you'd had all the space. These days, mine's it's right there behind me, actually. I mean, no, that's a lot of shoes for sure.
You talk about bragging about your shoe size. I have a pair I like to brag about. They're over here underneath the basketball hoop. I've never even put them on. I've never even just tried them on, not even once.
Wow.
I took them out of the box and I set them on a shelf.
Good.
The shoes above my door there, those are the retired shoes. They're in the rafters in a sense because they're above everything else.
They look nice.
Those all have a story behind them. But well, help us with this, Marco. This guy was talking about on Facebook and he wanted to be a guest on my show. And I was like, okay, sure. And then he started telling me about this app that he is on and that he created called Low Key. And I was like, that seems fun. I'll check it out. And so I checked it out. And so now I'm on this app. And then you know him. His name is Shane. And Shane and I started talking. And Shane says to me, he says, Neil, you really ought to talk to Marco. Why do I need to talk to Marco? First off, raising my hand in the class. Who is Marco? What is Marco? Or I don't even know. And he said, listen, Marco is the number one guy on my app called Low Key. And I was like, I don't understand. And he said, you got to talk to him. He is amazing. And he loves to connect with people. And I was like, well, that's funny because those are the two things I love to do too. Yeah. So how and why on earth did you join this crazy app?
I think I just heard about it on LinkedIn. I'm a very big LinkedIn guy. I think anyone that likes connection is big on LinkedIn. It kind of came as like a job posting and I applied. I was like remote, part-time. I was like, that's perfect. I always love to just get involved in different little things. The way that Shane explained it to me was that it was almost like Uber, but for talking to people. And I was like, I like that idea a lot. I love talking to people about anything. Also, I'm an alcoholic, sober 3 years. It reminded me of how the bar scene is really whenever you're drinking and you talk to the next guy, you're more willing to share about your life experiences and what you're going through currently with a stranger than you would with someone that you've known your whole life. I really enjoy that.
Well, it's interesting you would talk about being an alcoholic. First off, congratulations on being sober so long.
Thank you.
I think some people don't realize that alcohol really can have a grip on you the way it does. I mean, sometimes people think, oh, it's fine. I don't have a problem. They're in, we would maybe say, denial of that. What made you step away from that type of lifestyle of being, in your mind, an alcoholic?
I was 22 whenever I stopped drinking, which the whole thing has been crazy. I still don't understand what happened. At my job that I was working at the time, they had an open bar for a Christmas party. And at that time, I had been very knee deep in my alcoholism. I think I just went wild at the bar. And I remember asking them give me a quadruple shot of whiskey, neat. And they were like, we can't do that. And I remember getting extremely mad. And I was like, well, give me a double shot and then give me 2 of those. And then it was a whole thing. Basically, I drank from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. that night. And that was the most I had ever drank. Woke up basically 2 days later because I had a huge, just continuous nap session. And I woke up with withdrawals. And that's kind of what snapped me out of it. And then came suicidal thoughts. I mean, it just got worse as the days went by. And I kept telling myself, this is just anxiety that I would get all the time. And it just got worse and worse and worse. And I was like, I need help. And I don't know what help looks like, but I'm going to find that because I am not at peace anymore. I've lost control of the wheel. I went to AA and that was a whole mess. People were in their late 50s, late 60s on their 3rd marriage. And there I was coming in 22 years old, fresh out of college. All of them were like, oh, you're not an alcoholic. I drank a little too much this week or whatever. I basically had to find my path on my own. With that came therapy, which I was completely against before drinking. I didn't believe in therapy, but I did that. Psychotherapy as well. I enjoyed that better. There really was nothing to say other than I wasn't like masking anything. I wasn't trying to get away from any emotions. It really just was that it was undiagnosed ADD that I had. And it made a lot of sense. The way that I am is kind of just, I'm very squirrely. I always want things in excess. If that feels good, I want more of it. If that sounds good, I want to hear it again. If that feels good, I want to feel that again. There was really nothing to say other than I feel really sad. This too shall pass. Eventually I will get better. But right now I am in the process of recovery.
I grew up in the church. In doing so, I was on staff really young, like around 19. All my friends were going out and partying, and I had friends in high school that partied and drank and smoked weed and did the things. Never did any of those things. I remember in high school having my first beer, and it was a Budweiser, and I thought, this is gross. This is so gross. And I'm never going to get a Budweiser sponsor now, but I don't care. But it was so nasty. I was like, how do people drink this? Like, this is gross. And I think I drank like half of it, dumped the rest out, and tried to play it off. I drank it all. Fast forward, I get married. Even then, I didn't drink a lot. Because again, I'm on church staff. I have people looking up at me. I have expectations, a lot of pressure on me at a young age, 21, leading a youth group. And no business leading. Side note, we press forward. My brother-in-law, who is younger than I am and younger than my wife's brother, we went out one night for his birthday, his 21st birthday. What do? You go out and you drink and have this great time. I don't remember most of that night. I remember snapshots of it, like a picture you would see on your phone or old days, the Kodak camera. You're like flipping through the pictures like, oh, sort of remember that. I remember the next Sunday, one of my mentors came to me and was like, hey, I heard what happened. And I was like, yeah, it kind of got a little out of hand. And he goes, you got to stop that. And I was like, why? I never drank when I was younger. I never drank. Like, I'm justifying my behavior. I'm justifying what I did. I've done everything right up until this point. Like, I did it the right way. I didn't go out. He's like, you got to stop. And I started to think, there's no way I'm an alcoholic. I don't even really like alcohol per se. Then like a couple of months later, we were back at it again. Same thing. And I couldn't even get up to church the next day because I was hungover. Yeah, that's an awkward phone call, by the way. Hi, Pastor. I'm not able to make it to work today because church is work for me. I'm like, I'm sick. I got a headache. I got a migraine. It was a hangover headache. I don't think people really get the dangers that could ensue if alcohol continues to run and ruin your life. Am I alone on the island? Like Castaway?
No, actually, there's a couple things that are relatable there. Also, I do want to preface that I don't ever want to yuck anyone's yum. I understand that there are people that can control themselves. There are people that can literally just have a beer for lunch and that is it. They won't drink for a month and it's really nothing to them. Weirdly enough, for me, I've smoked many times in my life, like cigarettes and stuff. It's never been a thing for me. I never understood that addiction, which is weird. Also, I actually led worship for 8 years of my life, especially for the youth services. I related with that in high school. I did a lot of crazy things. I remember somebody brought in vodka and I got on stage and led worship drunk. It was vodka in a water bottle. All of that's very relatable. I think it all was a part of the story of the end, basically, for me.
I think that's what makes you fascinating to me. So you meet Shane through LinkedIn, through this advertisement that kind of catches your attention. Remote job, perfect for a guy like you, young guy. It's technology driven, probably into technology, I would imagine. You probably love tech. I mean, there's some people out there that are like, cool, I hate tech. Where's my tech guy? This app is designed and geared for people who are in a rough spot and don't have that, I call them a 911 person. I believe everyone in their life, and even everyone listening right now, needs a 911 person. When everything hits the fan, I mean everything, and you don't know what else to do and you don't know who else to call, it's not Ghostbusters, being a little bit funny there. It's somebody that you know is gonna pick up. And to me, I think everyone needs that person. When you're on the verge or you're on the brink or you're on the edge, who's your 911 person? To me, is so fascinating about this app. You guys on that app can be that 911 for someone. And it doesn't even have to be an emergency. It can even be something as, man, I aced my whatever. I passed the bar. I'm a lawyer now. Whatever. It could be something as joyful as that. What has kept you on the app?
That's a great question. Whenever I first joined, there was nobody on there. I mean, you would get a call like once a week, maybe, but I work remote for like my main job. So I thought it was like the perfect thing for me that I could be there at all times, kind of 24/7 and not miss a call. Do you kind of have the people that come to me? And the thing is, that's kind of how it's going to work out because people trust you with their story. They don't want to go with someone else and then re-explain the entire story. You get it from the beginning. You were there from the beginning, going along the journey with them, the good and the bad. Like you said, it doesn't always have to be bad. How do you not fall in love with the people? And I say that you're so involved in their story, you're so there, you start to learn them, you see them as people and not just an opportunity to pick up. How do you not fall in love with the people and how do you not make them your friends?
Not really understanding. I mean, I get the app. Help me from your perspective. Explain the app the best you know on how it works for you and how it works for the people you're listening to or talking with.
So basically, when someone calls, they either have the option of sending out a targeted call, which is like they want to call me. They'll specifically go to like my profile and then call me. Or they might just do like an all around like, hey, I just need someone to pick up. Someone that's listening to pick up. I don't know who's awake. Usually I'll be there to pick up whichever calls. It doesn't matter if it's targeted or if it's just someone that needs someone to talk to. And then from there, I listen, and most of the time it's pretty standard stuff. It's stuff like my parents are going through a divorce. Divorce is a big one. Boyfriend trouble, girlfriend trouble, starting a new job, or feeling like they're about to quit their job or get fired for whatever reason. So these are everyday things, but they are very stressful things. Basically, pick up the call and just be there for them. As a listener, you have to understand that you're not there to solve people's problems. You're there to do exactly what it's called, listen. So it's going to be a lot of just being there, not trying to kind of put your foot in and being like, I think you should do this. Or why did you do that instead of doing that instead? Here's what happened to me that worked for me. Most of the time, these things, although they're very common, you don't want to be liable for anything that you say. If anything bad happens to them, I just don't want to be liable for that. That's what I love about the app is they understand that you're just there to listen and that's okay. They just need that comfort and I can provide that.
I mean, that's great in theory. Marco, push on you a little bit if we can be friends for a moment. It's great in theory. It also seems there's a deep-rooted connection for you. Do you think on any level you've struggled with connection with people?
Yeah, the kind of, whatever you want to call it, environment that we're in now, where everything is social media, we're more connected than ever before, yet we're so disconnected at the same time. There is an expectation of perhaps always being there for someone. Nobody has their phone more than like 10 inches away from them. It's always in their pocket. It's always in their hands. They're always on it. There's this feeling of you're supposed to do that. Somewhere along the lines, everything has been very buzzwordy, where it's like, hey, call me if you need anything. And it's almost like, yeah, that's nice. I still feel like there's an emptiness there. Like you don't really mean it. There's no intentionality. I think with this app, we're almost like separating being intentional and required. This app is just to help people, just being there for people.
Could you have ever used this app personally before you joined it?
Oh man, you've got great questions. I don't even think I got the chance to ever even explore it as a talker.
You know every intimate detail of your life. It's yours.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just thinking, have there been moments in your life where you could have really used this app, could have changed some pathways that you maybe have gone down?
Absolutely. I think especially in middle school and high school, I don't think there was anything like that. If there was, it wasn't that very well broadcasted. I would have loved having someone I could go to. And to this day, I feel like I still don't have anyone I can go to. That's also another thing that I wanted to bring up is I've gotten a lot of guys. And I feel like that's one of those things that maybe guys like to remain anonymous because they don't want to seem like they're weak whenever they're talking about what they're going through. I think if we're being honest, what stopped me from going and talking to anyone about anything growing up, I don't want to be seen as weak or it's just embarrassing. I do want to defeat that stigma. And it looks like it's coming around. I think with this app, it'll definitely shoot it out of the water for sure.
I completely agree with you. I know for me, growing up, I started realizing and recognizing even that I'm not the normal guy. Guys I were around growing up were really into hunting, that were really into fixing cars. The only dude card I seem to ever have that I could possess and kind of hold on to is like ace up my sleeve is I was really into sports. I still am. And I could regurgitate stats that I had read on the internet or I'd seen on Sports Center, Sports Almanac back in the day, because the internet wasn't what it is now. Can see a jersey number now when I'm watching a football game, and I could tell you probably 3 guys that have worn that jersey number, and people are like, what? Can't tell you so-and-so's phone number, but I can tell you who wore that jersey number.
Lucky you. I didn't even have that. I didn't know anything about sports, cars. Nothing.
I have none of those skills. If something breaks in my house, I'm like, I gotta call somebody. I can't fix it. My wife buys the Amazon bookcase. Let's put it together. I'm like, sweet. I'll be in the room. Let me need it moved into place. I'll help you with that. I just am not. I wasn't a Lincoln Log. I wasn't a Lego guy. I wasn't the erector set Tinker Toy guy. Like, that's not me. That's not how I was wired. I would get with my cousin and we would lip sync dance moves to Michael Jackson or Paula Abdul. That was me being on a stage. That was me. And they needed a fifth sheep in the nativity scene for the Christmas program. That was me. I volunteered for that. Those are the things I did. And I'd look around and I was like, why isn't any other guys doing it? I was looking around and I was seeing that nobody else was doing this type of stuff. And I was like, why am I so different than everyone else was? And I still don't have an answer to that. I know that I'm hypersensitive. I meet guys a lot that don't know how to talk, that don't know how to share their feelings, that when something's bugging them, they just shove it down and shove it away. They don't know how to process what's in their head. And me, I'm like, what's the matter? Yeah, I'm sad today. Here's why. Here's the 7 reasons why I'm sad. Or that I just felt like I grew up differently than everyone else did. I was more imaginative than other people were.
Can I say, I'm so glad that you're the way that you are, because that's exactly how I am. It's just so refreshing to hear that. I wish that one day you and I can have coffee one day and just talk. I couldn't even imagine what that would even feel like. I've never experienced that with somebody that's exactly like me.
But that's exactly what I'm saying, Marco. I look around my world and I look around the way people do things and the way people are. I don't get it. I don't understand it. My wife asks me all the time. She's like, why do you listen to the same song like 20 times? I just like the song. But why? I don't know. I just do. I know what I like.
We all come from different combination of things. Some people they were raised by a mother and a sister. Some guys are raised by a dad and a brother, stuff like that. So we all come from different things. And I do think that definitely influences how we are. I still ugly cry to a song that I've been listening to for like 10 years, Dolly Parton's From Here to the Moon and Back with Chris Christopherson on it. I just bawl my eyes out. And the thing is, it's not even a sad song. It's like a wedding song. But I imagine that being played at my wedding. I take things personally. That's the first thing I noticed when I was growing up is I took everything personally, and it stayed with me for a month before it got out of my system. I mean, if it was like a kid calling me a tool or something, I'd be like ugly crying in my room and I would still feel it a month later. It was horrible.
So I've seen the movie before. It's a Tom Hanks movie and it's called A Man Called Otto. And it was on Hulu. I've seen it before. My wife and I even watched it together. And I found myself crying during this movie. I was like, what is going on with me? I've seen this before. And even in Armageddon, another movie, there's a scene in the movie where they're getting ready to go to space and attack the asteroid and all these things. And he's trying to reconcile with his ex-wife and the kid before they go. And he's like, hey, I'm doing something big. It's bigger than you and me. And he goes, no, I'm not supposed to be here, but can you just give him this? And he gives him like a little spaceship. So the next scene, like you see the kid like flying the spaceship around. That's not a salesman. That's your dad. And I just like, cry every time.
What's the name of the movie?
Armageddon. That's a good one.
I'm writing it down.
Armageddon. If you haven't seen that one, yeah, that's a good one. I talk to other guys and I'm like, am I alone in this? Am I the only kid in the sandbox that's like getting emotional about stupid movies and dumb songs? Like, why is no one else doing that in your mind? Why do you think that is?
I think it's a combination of things. I do believe that there are some guys that hide it, but I also believe that there are some guys that just don't feel as much. In my opinion, that's a superpower. I wish I was like them. I wish I didn't care so much. I wish I wasn't affected by words as much. We're just all made made up differently, and we have to find our tribe that just best represents us and who we mesh with. I've always struggled making friends because of that reason. I've just grown super bored with them just because there really is nothing to talk about, even though there's a bunch in common. Their just style of talking, their style of connecting, it's bland. And I find myself wanting to season them up, but it just doesn't work.
I have sat through the last 7 years of people who have shared with me the greatest of greats and the lowest of lows. I've sat with parents who have lost children to suicide.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, those are episodes that still hurt my heart every single time.
Yeah.
And no matter if I've had a similar conversation, it feels like it's just all brand new again.
Oh, yeah.
I just think to myself, if we had a world that really said, okay, listen, I mean it when I say it, call me, I'll be there. I wonder if our suicide rate would drop. We can have excitement, and I'm not dismissing that. It seems like more often than not, somebody needs somebody to say, no, I'm here.
Mm-hmm.
There's no greater reward, there's no greater responsibility than to be there for somebody. I remember years ago, there was a guy in our church. I love this man dearly. He's since passed. His name's Leon Heron. Leon's wife had a stroke. They were both pretty old. They were in their 80s.
Mm-hmm.
Leon was so beside himself, he didn't even know what to do next. And he was just grieving for his wife that he's known since they were, I think, like 12 or something crazy. And he didn't know what to do. And so I just grabbed his phone and I said, Leon, tell me who to call. And he had a list of names like in his old black book, phone book kind of thing. Like, I mean, it was a legit phone book, black book. And he said, here's all of my family on the first page. Just go down the list. And I literally did. Hung up with one and did the other. What I'm trying to say is it's being there for someone in their pain and telling them that their pain is okay and they're allowed to have it. What has low key, the app specifically, taught you about yourself that you didn't know before?
Before I even applied, I wouldn't have described myself as a people person. Like, I really wouldn't have. I think what I learned with this is that as much as I hate to admit it, I do like people. I do understand that people can be the worst possible thing in the world, but they can also be the best thing in the world. They can make or break your experience in life. I can't speak to why I'm the number one person on low key, but I will say that because of my love for people, I go the extra mile to check in. That's one thing that I don't get quote unquote paid for on low key, is to check in on people. I always make sure to let them know you don't have to respond to this, because if they do, I get paid and it comes out of their pocket. So I always make sure to tell them you don't have to respond to this. Make today a good day on purpose. I think you and I are both Christians. The prayer that I always say, and I think I learned this from an Amy Grant song, Lord, lead me to the ones that I need and to the one that's needing me. Something that I do or say have eternal significance. God has called me to do on low key is just to be there for people, to check in. It's really made me very happy. I love doing it. It's really not a chore. It's not a job. I enjoy doing it.
I'm just so fascinated by the fact that this exists and that it hasn't existed in some form beforehand, that you're following up. Because I think so many times when you go into an app like this or you go into a new experience, you know, this is a worship guy, you have this like mountaintop, oh my gosh, this is so amazing experience. And then you go home and then there's the crash. I could have a great interview with somebody. I mean, that's probably the best analogy I have of current is I could have a great interview with somebody and it's so good and it's so awesome. And then I'm like, man, I can't wait to release it. And then like, you know, I never get any feedback and I'm like, nobody even cared.
Yeah.
And I think that's the key that I feel like we're missing in life is the follow-up. It's great to be there in the moment. Somebody may need you in that moment, but what about a week from now? What about 2 weeks from now? What about a month from now? Where are you then? We've moved on. We're so fast to move on. Why is the follow-up for you so important?
Here's the thing. I don't know why I was like wired this way. I will be going through like my day. I'll grab coffee in the morning, and while like the coffee's brewing, I'll be like, that guy hasn't talked to me in a while. And it's almost like my heart sinks and I'm like, the last thing that he told me was that he wasn't doing well. I'm going to go check up on him. I'm sure everything's fine. I would feel really bad if I just left it that way. Like my mind just works like a notification system. It's like, ding, you haven't replied. Ding, like they're still pending. You haven't gotten a response back. It also justifies whenever they get off the call, like you said, there is that kind of like, he was comforting me during that time, but now I'm back where I was before the call. So I think just with that kind of bridges the conversation The follow-up bridges a conversation that you just had. It makes them be like, okay, you know what? He's got me. Even though we're not on the call anymore, at least I know that he's still thinking about me. At least I know that he's got my back. He's got me whenever I need him.
So, there's always the skeptics in the room. You've probably been in some rooms where there's been some skeptical people like, is this working? Is this not? The naysayers, as I call them, they're usually in the corner sipping the punch, judging everybody like Judge Judy or Wapner of old. The naysayers who would say, okay, cool, Neil, sounds like a great app. Sounds like a great app for people that are just needy, clingy, emotionally draining people. It's great that they have something that they can go to because let's face it, there's too much feeling in this world. I can't handle all the feelings. My cup runneth over with your feelings. It's too much. Go away with your feelings. I don't want them. It's great that somebody has something like that. I'm never going to use it. What would you say to those naysayers?
I think if you don't need it, don't use it. And is there something wrong with feeling too much? That's what I would say to them. It's definitely geared for a specific person, and it's not a permanent thing. If someone's going through something and they just need to talk to someone for a few months and then be like, you know what? This has been great. Thank you for everything. I'll let you know when I need you again. That's totally fine too. I always tell people that this isn't a therapy replacement at all. We're not skilled to be taking on super, super hard stuff. If you feel like you're going to harm someone or yourself, call 911. You know what they say? It's like preventative care. You don't want to be calling when you're like on your last leg. You want to be calling when things are not looking good. I need someone there to just kind of like catch me when the fall is still relatively close to the ground. Preventative care is important. I always practice exercises with the people that I'm talking to, even just breathing. Sometimes they'll call me with like a panic attack. Everyone gets panic attacks. In that moment, I always try to calm them down with like breathing exercises and all that. Anyone can do them. You don't have to be a doctor to know what a breathing exercise is. It kind of calms them down. And then from there, talk a little bit. I think that's just super important.
Can you ever see a moment where you're not involved in low key?
I don't know what the future holds. I really don't know. As of this moment, I don't ever want to. It would feel weird leaving a lot of people. I mean, these are people that have been calling me since I started. I think it's been like 5-6 months now. I think I live for the feeling of being needed. For that reason, I don't find myself leaving anytime soon or in the future.
So where does that deep desire of being needed come from?
Oh my gosh. This sounds like a lot like therapy. I think you're doing a better job than I am.
It's not therapy. I think that's what I desperately want. I want to know when I lay my head down on my pillow every night that my life has meant something, that my life has somehow positively affected somebody.
Mm-hmm.
I want my loved ones near me to know that I value them and I appreciate them and all the things. But I want to know I made a difference. I mean, I don't need a star on the Walk of Fame. I don't need a record deal. I mean, I wouldn't mind a podcast deal. I don't need to be famous. I used to think, man, if I could just be famous, everything would be fine. Now I think if I could just podcast full time, man, that would be amazing. Yes, let's do that. I want to know that I've made a difference. I want to feel like I'm just doing this just to do it. Where does that deep rooted, I need to feel like I'm needed? You said it. I didn't.
I think I can't pinpoint where exactly that need of being needed comes from, if that makes sense. I think maybe it's a man's prerogative to be that person that is being needed. I feel like every guy wants to feel like they're needed. Maybe it has something to do with growing up in a Christian household and just doing good, being there for people. Maybe it's childhood trauma. Maybe it's a mix of all three. Like you said, at the end of the day, I feel really good about myself for helping someone. And, I don't say that to brag. It's just such a great feeling of many opportunities to feel wholesome anymore. So this is just a great exchange. And a lot of these callers don't realize that they're also helping me in the process. They're helping me fulfill that feeling of being wanted, being needed.
All right, another Tom Hanks movie. Must be a Tom Hanks movie marathon here. Castaway, have you seen that one?
I'm not a big movie watcher.
What?
No. Yeah.
Falling flat.
Yeah, sorry.
That's okay. I'm going to wreck it for you. Tom Hanks is on this island. He's a FedEx worker and he gets stranded. Plane crashes and he gets stranded on a deserted island. He tries, for the most part, to never open the boxes that seem to be washing up on shore. He's like super protective of them, like does everything he can to make sure that the package isn't harmed. And then finally, I think gets sick and tired of being sick and tired, and he starts opening the packages and he ends up finding a volleyball. He cut himself on an ice skate. It's another issue that happens, and he makes his palm print on the volleyball, and he realizes it kind of looks like a face. And so he starts calling the volleyball Wilson because it has its name Wilson written on it. Kind of befriends this volleyball basically and starts talking to it. Again, here's the thing I love about this movie. Say what you want. My wife hates it. She's like, why? It's so boring. It just breaks my heart that even on a deserted island, he still was starving and craving connection.
Yeah.
He needed to feel like he was needed, and he needed to have a friend.
Am I the volleyball in this situation?
No, I'm just using it as an analogy to build to a story. To say, I think there's something powerful about being needed. I think there's something powerful about being a volleyball for somebody, to being there for somebody.
Yeah, absolutely.
You talk about middle school, how it was rough. It was rough for a lot of us. It sounded like it was a little rough for you. What would you go back and share 4 words with middle school younger you that maybe really would have helped you? 4 words.
I can't describe them in just single words.
Give me your phrase then.
I would say realize that they don't know what they're talking about. 2, they're just now learning these words and they didn't know what they were 2 days ago. 3, you don't know what their situation is. 4, I'd have to say they don't understand what your situation is.
See, we always like to go back in time because we think somehow if we went back, we could change the future. I mean, that the whole point of Back to the Future, the movie, you've probably not seen that one either.
Oh, I did see that one.
Okay.
I will say.
I want to start thinking about the future because I can't change the past.
True.
There's no DeLorean in my driveway. That's the car you used in Back to the Future.
Right.
There's no DeLorean in my driveway. So I want to start thinking about the future. So future you, let's talk about future you. What does future Marco need to know? Or what do you want him to know? What do you want him to be?
What do I want the future me to know?
Yeah.
Wouldn't he already know it?
I don't know. Maybe he's still struggling to know it. Maybe next week Marco needs to know something that you have right now that he needs to know.
That's a tough one. How about, can we do what I'd like to ask future Marco?
Sure, yeah.
Because I feel like I need answers from him now. I would ask, this might get real. Did I ever relapse? Or did I continue on a straight path to sobriety? I'm very curious to know that because that scares me. That's one of those things where a lot of people, they're very confident and then they go on a binge and then they just die. I think my biggest fear. 2, I would ask, did you ever stay in music? I couldn't imagine you doing anything else other than maybe forensics because I like watching a lot of people gone missing, case files, stuff like that. 3, I'd say, is your favorite dish still chicken piccata? Because I sure like to eat. And 4, did you stay skinny? That's all I want to know because my parents have horrible genetics. Those are my 4.
I love it. My whole thought is I feel like I spent a lot of time in the past dwelling on what could have been, what should have been, why couldn't it have been? And I'm really trying to make a point in my own personal life to say, well, what about the now? And what about the next? The now and the next is what I'm working on. The now I have power over. The now I can do something with.
I agree.
I can work on that. Well, right now I can do this. Well, right now I can do that. Okay. And then after I do that, whatever that is, then I can move on to the next thing, whatever that next thing may be. I was never good at Mario Brothers, but there was always a next level. You had to do what you had to do right there in that level. You couldn't move on to the next level till you got the flag. You had to pull it down. But you had to work on the right now. You had to work on the then. You couldn't go back the previous level. That was done. You couldn't go back 1-1. Nobody goes back to that. And so I'm really trying hard to work on the now and the next. I can't make my dad love me more back in the past when I was 7. I can't. Yeah. And nor can he.
Yeah.
All I have is the now and the next. And so you could even flip that. Okay, well, the next time I see him, I'm going to make sure that I'm in the now. I'm in the present. I'm in the present with him and remind him of the right now. That right now, Dad, I love you. Back then, I might not have. Back then, I probably hated you. But right now, I want you to know that God forbid anything happens to you. You need to know.
Yeah.
The past, can't change it. Who is your now and next that maybe needs to be reminded that you still have what for them?
I think you hit the nail on the head with Dad. I don't know what your situation is with your dad, but somehow you clocked that I also had problems with my dad.
I was just reading the room, man. Just reading the room.
So I think him for sure. I don't know if you're this way as well. Whenever I go to sleep, usually whenever I'm in bed and it's like past 11 p.m., I always have these horrible thoughts of, I make up this scenario of people dying. Specific people dying in my life. I imagine the funeral. I imagine giving the eulogy, like going really in depth about it. And I start crying. I don't know why that happens. I like to think that that's a good thing. I don't want them dead. It's almost like I'm preparing super in advance. I think my dad, the people that have yet to meet, I mean, who knows if it's going to be my future wife, my future ex-wife. Like, I don't know. As of right now, I think my dad, I'm sure I'm going to meet someone in the future that's going to mean a lot to me. And that's going to be a whole different story.
Wives are fun. Not multiple wives. Multiple wives are not fun. I mean, it doesn't seem fun to me, but one wife is good.
We'll leave that for the Mormons.
2 is too many. 3 is crazy. I'm very fortunate. I got to meet my wife at 16 and she still likes me. That's good. Wow. Right?
That's crazy.
She says she keeps getting older and I don't see it. So I don't know. Maybe I need to get my prescription checked. I don't know, but I don't see it. You're a big fan of low key. Mm-hmm. In your mind, give me like a 30-second, 45-second spiel on why somebody should sign up in your mind.
I think people should sign up because even if you don't have anything to say, I think it's a healthy practice into getting back into connecting with humans face to face. I think it is something that it doesn't necessarily have to be, I'm going through this, or I just won this, or I just passed this. Even if it's just, you know what, I just wanted to call you to let you know that I had the best dinner last night. It was just amazing. I had this for the first time and it was delicious. Have you ever had that? And then we just go from there. And I think that's a good practice. I think it'll make the world go back to how it used to be.
So I'm a big necklace guy. And for the longest time, I had a necklace pendant. That makes it sound girly. It was a charm. That makes it sound even girlier. It was on a necklace and it was a set of headphones. Ooh. And my dad and I go to lunch. We're eating lunch together and he grabs the necklace from underneath my hoodie and he goes, "What in the world is that?" And he pulls on the chain and, it kind of untucks itself. What is that? Is that one of those rings that you like put in your nose? And I'm like, a septum ring, Dad? Is that what you think that is? And he goes, "Yeah, isn't that what that is?" I said, "No, it's headphones." "Why do you have headphones on a necklace?" And I said, "Well, it's to remind me when I have my headphones on to listen." Because when I have my headphones on, I'm always listening. I'm editing, I'm listening, I'm intently listening. Mm-hmm. Because I'm editing the show. And I said, so it's a reminder in real life when I have my headphones on that I need to be listening. And he's like, good. "You really need a reminder to listen better?" And I said, "Don't you?" And he was like, "Well, what do you think of this sushi? I saw you got a lot of sushi." I was like, wow, that was a quick subject change. That was a quick off ramp. Like, let's get off of that freeway. Christmas came and he asked me what I wanted for Christmas. I was like, I don't know, just give me Amazon gift card. I'll find my own gift. Thanks.
Yeah.
And so he did. And so I found this necklace that I've worn for a while now, and it's a shoe. And I have so many people ask me, they're like, "Why do you have a shoe?" And I said, well, one, it's a Jordan 4 shoe, which I know means nothing to you. For those that are shoe nuts, they'll get it. And I'm a big Jordan guy. And it also is another reminder to me that every time I run up against something that is hard or difficult, I ask myself this question: am I in their shoes right now? Because I don't know their pain, but I can try. I can try to understand. I can try to say, okay, how would I feel if I was in their spot right now? And we have this guy at work that drives me absolutely bonkers. Every time he calls, every time he stops in, it's like nails on the chalkboard for me. And recently he called in again and I'm just like exasperated. And it's always horrible timing, by the way, when this guy calls. Always horrible time. I'm in the middle of 7 things. Something about the conversation, I don't know, just something caught my ear. Again, listening, intently listening. And I asked him, I said, "Hey man, something just doesn't sound right with you. You okay? Like something sounds off." And there's this long pause and he goes, "Well, Neil, my wife just passed away." And I was like, what? That simple act of asking the question, "Are you okay? Something seems off." And again, I don't know this guy. Like, we've never hung out together. I mean, we interact strictly at work only. He's a work only interaction. It's the thought of when that moment happens that I'm not a superhero because I was able to do that and others can't. All I'm saying is there's power in listening. And I think that's what I want to commend you for, Marco, is your ability to just be on an app and being willing to listen. Because I think so many times people don't have that.
Yeah. I think we live in a world where, especially with podcasts, now I'm not blaming podcasts. I feel like a lot of people, despite not being able to communicate properly, people have a lot to say and just kind of like blab about anything, talk just to talk, to hear themselves talk. It's never about having a good conversation. I think people always think about, like, just like my mom, she always does that. She always is like, what am I going to say next? What am I going to say next? Never like listening to the other person. And that's equally as important.
There's power in the listening. What you're describing of your mom, I think it clinically call it a pseudo listener. You're only listening to give the response. You're not really listening. Well, Marco, if people want to reach out to you and maybe learn more about the app, also learn more about you, and maybe they've struggled with alcoholism, what's the best way they can connect with you? And do you hang out on social medias, or are you just like nixing all things social media? Or are you a LinkedIn guy?
I'm a LinkedIn guy. Find me on LinkedIn. Well, I don't even know. There's no username on there, is there? I think it's just Marco Vega.
I don't know. Yeah, I'm not really on. I mean, I have a profile, but I've never really used it.
Not go on Instagram and follow me on Marco Vega Music. It's just all together Marco Vega Music. It used to be like a music channel, and now it's just me. So
don't sound let down when you say that. Now it's just me.
Well, it's just kind of like 4 pictures of me. I don't really post on anything, and I don't really get on it. If you want to follow me, please do. Shoot me a message and I'll be on there.
All right, Marco, we're going to play a game now because games are fun. I was told years ago. So games are fun. Here we go. Zach's going to tell us more about our game. Zach, take it away.
It's now that time in the show to play the fastest growing game in the podcast world. We call it Heel Hustle. Today, our guest will try to answer all 6 of these questions in 60 seconds or less to win a prize from our prize closet. Audience, feel free to play at home. Let's put 60 seconds on the clock. Ready, set, hustle!
The game begins in 3, 2, 1.
All right, Marco, one person you would trade places with for a week.
John Mayer.
That's a good choice. Guilty pleasure.
I don't have any. I'm really proud of everything that I like, so nothing's a guilty pleasure. I don't believe in guilty pleasures.
Best compliment you've ever received.
I like when people say, "Oh, he's a class act." I love that.
Okay. What is the worst piece of advice you've ever received?
To not smile with my teeth.
Okay. What is something you wish you were better at?
I wish I was better at basketball.
Okay. What is something that never fails to make you laugh? Hurry.
I don't know. Farts.
That might have been at the buzzer. We'll have to check the tape and see if he made it under the wire. Marco, thanks for playing Heel Hustle. It was fun, sort of, maybe.
It was so fun. Yeah.
Yeah, the music gets to people. That's what it is. Marco, again, man, thanks so much for coming on today. Really appreciate all that you shared, all that you gave. Really love the fact that you were vulnerable, and I feel like we might have stumped you a few times, maybe.
If I had like the questions beforehand, I wouldn't have been stumped. I think I like being put on the spot. These were very good questions, and I thank you for having me.
You're welcome. All right, guys and gals, kids and campers alike, that is it. That is, in fact, all. That is our show today. Don't say hooray. That's not the next line. Come on. Well, I'm curious about this for you. When you think about that phrase, I actually took it down on the notepad. It was good. I liked it. See it again in a future context. Now and the next. What about your now? And what about your next? So who's the now in your life? The nows, the people that need you now. Okay, got a few names maybe rolling through the brain. Okay, good. Yes, even them. So who's the next? Who's the next person that you need to connect with? Now I know, listen, there's some pressure with that, right? Who do I need to connect with today? Oh, there's so many. The inbox is full. Okay, well, clear the clutter, clear the mess. Clear the mechanism and ask yourself, who can I really connect with today? And then challenge yourself to say, now who's next? You know, I used to be in sales. We had this phrase, some will, some won't. Who's next? Maybe I borrowed a little bit from that. But who is next for you? Who's that next person that you can really make a difference with? Maybe it's the coffee barista lady. Maybe in Oregon, maybe it's the guy pumping your gas. We sort of do that here still. But let me know. You can let me know on the socials at OPS Podcast Show on our Facebook, Instagram, and X. You can, of course, let us know on our main homepage. That, of course, is opspodcast.com. Don't forget this when we go. It's so important. Remember, when you walk in other people's shoes, you really do get a different perspective on life. I want to thank you so much for listening. And stay tuned till next week when, guess what? That's right. We're going to walk in other people's shoes.